Grade 6. Welcome to our Monday video. With me as always is my almost did it. I almost used that word. I can't call her a sidekick anymore. She is the co-star. We worked out an agreement. So there she is, resting comfortably after the success of our new show. So my co-star, Berkeley. Things are good between us. We've worked out everything we need to, but we'll get to that later. Okay. Just wanted to tell you guys again, your assignments are amazing. Love reading them, seeing the positive comments that you give to each other. Great work on them, and keep it going. You guys are doing an awesome job. Today, we're going to actually start a new unit in math, and that new unit is algebra. Okay. So, a couple of key concepts for algebra. The first one is the idea of variables. So what is a variable? A variable is a quantity which during a calculation is assumed to vary or be capable of varying in value. Now, this is a fancy way of saying that we're going to start adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing with letters. Okay, they're going to be part of the equation now. So that's what's going to be our variable. And I'll show you what I mean by that in just a minute. The next concept is order of operations. So that's defined in math. Order of operations are the rules that state the sequence in which the multiple operations in an expression should be solved. A way to remember the order of the operations is PEDMAS, wherein each letter stands for a mathematical operation. And again, it's a shorter unit. There'll only be a couple of concepts that we're going to focus on. We'll get to order of operations later on. We're going to focus on variable today. But this last step here that I wanted to talk about, real-world application. So the real-world application for algebra, I put this because sometimes students, when we're doing this work, they say, "Oh, Mr. Griffin, how does this apply to real life? Like adding, subtracting with letters." And well, the thing I really like about algebra is that it involves multiple steps. And variables indicate change and keeping things constant and keeping things balanced. And I really think algebra in today's world, where we're dealing with a very complex problem, it's really practical because algebra involves steps, complex steps, in order to reach a conclusion. And that's what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to take a very complicated situation and break it down into simplified steps so we can reach a good, balanced, logical conclusion. So I think algebra is a very fitting unit for us right now. So let me show you a little bit what I mean. Okay, so here we have 3 questions, all right? And I'll go through them one by one. So the first one here is r plus 9 equals 14. So you may look at this question and you may think, "Oh, Mr. Griffin, there's only one number that you can replace r with to get 14. That number's 5. I know that from taking algebra previously." But what I want to focus on in grade 6 is this second step, okay? And the reason we have this second step is to balance the equation. So this is the variable is r. And what we want to do is we want to put the variable on one side, and we want to put the numbers on the other side. And the way we're going to do that is we are going to do the opposite operation. So all that means is if we have plus 9 here, we're going to make it minus 9 here so that we can balance it and get the numbers on the number side and the variables on the variable side. So the second step, r equals 14 minus 9. R equals 5. The second step, again, is to balance the equation. So I'll show you another example, but this time with subtraction. So I have s minus 5 equals 7. Well, to get the equation balanced, I'm going to reverse the operation. S equals 7 plus 5. S equals 12. And this works for all our operations. It's not just addition and subtraction. It also works for multiplication and division. So for this last question, 4 times P equals 8. And again, you may be tempted to say, oh, Mr. Griffin, I know the answer to this. There's only one number times 2 that could equal 8. But the second step is really important, and I'll show you why in a minute. So how do we reverse multiplication? Well, the opposite of multiplication is division. So again, we get the variable on one side, and instead of multiplying, we divide. So P equals 8 divided by 4. P equals 2. Okay? And I know we are adding a step for most of you in grade 6. The second step is new. So just to show you how it balances out and how it equals, when we do get these final answers, if we go back to the original question, so this says R equals 5. Well, if I take the 5 and we test that, yeah, 5 plus 9 does equal 14. Here it says S equals 12. Well, let's test that. Sure enough, 12 minus 5 does equal 7. And you guys get the idea. So the last one here, it says P equals 2. Let's test that. Yeah, 4 times 2 is 8. So the equation works out. So why do we add this second step? Why do we balance the equation and get the variables on one side and the numbers on the other side? Well, the reason for that is this. So this would be a high school equation. And what you see here is multiple steps to get to a final answer and balance of the equation between the variables and the numbers. And the starting point for that is grade 6 doing this, adding your step to get the balance. So that by the time you get to grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, this question becomes easier. And I don't want students looking at this going, oh my gosh, math's going to get so complicated, it's going to get so difficult. Absolutely not. The whole reason we study this is so that when we do get to this, and again, as we go up in grades, we'll learn more about algebraic processes. You'll be able to do this. And believe me, you will have the ability to do this. You will have the confidence to do this, okay? So again, the thing I like about algebra is you take a complex question, you break it down into steps, you balance it out until you get your final answer. And I think in today's world, it's a great strategy to learn, okay? And it starts with this concept, the balance of the equation. Now, some of you have seen, as I've skipped ahead, symbols. Well, symbols can also act as variables, right? It doesn't always have to be letters. So that's kind of a teaser trailer for the next video, if you will. Okay, we're going to take a look at how variables can be used as symbols as well. But again, just to focus on today's lesson. Okay, so we're taking this idea of variables, and I'm trying to explain to you the real world importance of algebra is breaking down a complicated equation into simplified steps and adding balance to it, which is a perfect lesson for today's world. Okay, so yeah, I know the last video there was some controversy about Berkeley starting her own show, and I said we worked out an arrangement. She's agreed to be my co-star on this show, but she's still doing her fine work on the Netflix show. So let's just take a look to see how that's going. All right, so we'll go back here. There I am. So there's my Netflix page, and you see, yeah, Berkeley. I mean, of course she's going to get a lot of viewers. Look at that face. What a good girl. And there's some flack because she kind of included me as her sidekick on this, but we as a team we worked it out, and she agreed that this is where she got her start, and she'll continue to do this show. So I'm really happy to report that things are good with Berkeley and I. Oh, well, there's user comments. Oh, this is new. Wow, I didn't see this before. I guess it would be user comments on the show. Okay, so let's read some of them. Let's see. Oh gosh, that's a lovely comment. Wow, that sidekick sure is cool and funny. Ah, I guess somebody does like Baldy McBalderson. What's the person's name? Oh, Mr. John Griffin. Interesting. I've never met him before. Sounds like a really awesome guy, though. More Berkeley, less of the bald dude. Mr. Coleman. Well, that's not a positive comment. We practice positive comments here in grade 6, so absolutely not. That's what I teach my students. You guys have made such great comments on each other's work. This is an example of what not to do. So this Mr. Coleman character, I don't know what you think he's doing, but we're just going to erase that. Thank you very much. And there's one more comment here. What does this read? The star of the show should get lots of chimkin and Treatos. Workley the Bunder Dog. Well, that seems suspicious. But we'll focus on the positive of the comments here. That's what we like to do in grade 6, is make positive comments to each other's work. One last thing about the algebra questions. So on your week at a glance, there is no posted assignment that you have to do for math this week, but you'll see on the week at a glance, I want you to start practicing questions like this. Make your own questions and see how you fare with them, okay? I'm not going to assess them. It's not for assessment or anything, but just start practicing multiple step algebra questions and see how you do, okay? All right, so let's get back to our here. All right, so there I am. Okay, so there it is. It's our new unit, Algebra. Very, very proud of you guys for the assignments you're handed in. They're amazing. Keep up the good work. Mr. Griffin out.